Previously on Inside MotoAmerica, pressure to rise.
What this sport is about is being able to immerse yourself in it, exert yourself fully, and be, dizzy and cross-eyed at the end of it. I'm looking forward to when that feeling means that we're on the top step.
I show my emotions on the track a little bit more than everybody else, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't go to dinner with the guys right after. I just get angry in the moment.
My mom's birthday is the 5th of June, so I will be home. So it's cool. I don't have to buy anything, I just bring that, and she's the most happy mom in the world, so I'm happy I will bring it home.
I've always said I do not see a reason why we cannot win even with this bike, and that still stands. Hector's bringing the focus, the riding style, and the capability that we still aspire to do that.
Even if we stink, we have a great time at Elkhart. We're really looking forward to going there for sure.
So I just got to go out there swinging and try to hold off everyone else. I've got a nice big target on my back, but let them come.
To be that far behind Jake it's not good for myself and the team. I need to put the bike on the box for the team.
That's good. No, I'll stop.
Jake Gagne absolutely dominated both races in Virginia. Coming into Road America, there was a clear target on his back, but that doesn't faze him at all.
We had a great weekend in VIR.
And he will take another victory.
We just wanted to be consistent and smooth, and we were able to get home with a couple wins.
Incredible ride for Gagne.
To all my friends and family back at home, thank you guys.
We're here at Road America and see if we can keep it up at the front.
Cameron Peterson and Loris Bass had a great battle in race 1, but had very different opinions of how things unfolded.
He bumped into me the one time and my airbag went off, and that was a little bit frustrating.
There was nothing big, and I just pulled up my hand one time because we touched, but there was no big moment.
Yeah, we never really spoke about it.
Actually, I didn't know he was complaining and he was angry with me.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend.
Bobby Fong.
Bobby Fong had trouble that carried over from Atlanta and fell short of reaching the podium in VIR.
Yeah, I want to be on the podium because that's where I make my money, and that's where the best points are. So 5th is whatever. It's nice to get some points out for the championship, but I'm here to win, and I'm not here to get 2nd or 3rd.
Matthew Skoltz left VIR as the points leader after coming back from 14th in race 2 to finish 3rd.
Leading the points definitely adds a little bit of pressure, but at this point I'm not even thinking about the championship. I think right now it's pretty obvious that Jake Gagne has the pace over everyone else, so at this point it's just about trying to figure stuff out and try to catch up to Jake.
Road America is in Harley-Davidson's backyard. With a second round of the King of the Baggers race on tap for Sunday, no one has more weight on their shoulders than Superbike rider Kyle Wyman. He needs to win to have a shot at the Baggers Championship.
My grandfather had a Harley-Davidson dealership that he passed through the family, and we grew up there. That was everything to us, so it's almost the brand that made me who I am.
When we return, a new plan to help him is revealed.
Whenever I was working at the dealership, I wanted a lowrider so bad.
This season, Superbike rider Kyle Wyman is also racing in the Mission Foods King of the Baggers races on a Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle Road Glide.
The team came to me first and said, hey, we think we want to add a second rider. What do you think? And honestly, my first reaction was, I think we need to keep it focused on one bike because, we have so many things going on. But they told me that Harley-Davidson and the guys that run the company have been so enthused about what we've been doing in King of the Baggers, and they said, yeah, what we saw at Atlanta, we want to have more of that. We want to make sure that we get those top spots.
Bring what?
The #1 trophy on Monday.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
We can stage a shot of them putting it in a bucket in the archives. First Harley Bagger Championship.
They want to win, first and foremost. And if a teammate can help us win, then that's what they want to do.
Leading up to the weekend at Road America, Harley had a surprise up their sleeve and added Kyle's brother Travis as the second Harley factory rider for the remaining Baggers races.
Mr. Travis Wyman.
So I found out about a month ago that I was going to be asked to be Kyle's teammate on the factory Harley-Davidson, and I was pretty surprised and shocked at first, but it's super exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of this with my older brother.
My brother Travis is going to be joining us in the King of the Baggers series as my teammate on the Screaming Eagle Factory Harley-Davidson team. So, two deep now. We're going to go out and try to get some 1-2 finishes now for Harley-Davidson.
We got both Wyman brothers now.
They really wanted us to be a team, not just be two riders under the same tent called teammates. They wanted us to work together to try to get this King of the Baggers championship.
All the hard work over the years has paid off, and here we are as, factory Harley-Davidson riders. I think emotions are pretty high all around, and we haven't really been able to share it with the public yet, so I'm pretty excited to be able to do that this weekend.
Travis fits in because he's going to be that teammate that we need to push the whole program forward. And I think that, he's capable of running at the front with us.
I don't think it's really actually sunk in yet because we've had to keep this kind of under wraps for so long. I grew up in a Harley-Davidson family. My grandfather started the dealership back in 1962, and now my mom runs the dealership, and I spent about 10 years working in the dealership, so Harley's definitely in my blood. It's kind of cool how it's come around full circle, and me and Kyle get the chance to compete on them. This is something we dreamed of growing up as kids, growing up racing flat track. We've always been fans of the factory Harley riders, and it means a lot for us to be competing alongside each other as teammates.
We've had 3 test days since Atlanta, and Travis has been joining us at all those test days, and we've been really shortcutting the development of this bike that really has a lot going on with it. I mean, it's a challenge to take something that's not designed for the racetrack and make it so. And having Travis there has been a big help, and now we get to finally pull the covers off of it.
Thursday night in Milwaukee added to the 118 years of racing legacy, officially announcing Travis joining the team. It started to sink in just how special being on the factory Harley-Davidson team together really is.
It's so cool to be a part of a race program that's coming straight out of the factory with Harley-Davidson, because it means that we're now part of that history.
Ooh, yeah. It's just amazing to see all the history and to think that, 10, 20 years from now, my brother and I are going to be part of that history and be in the archives there, and it's giving me chills. It's pretty surreal. We grew up in the Harley-Davidson dealership, and both of my parents drag raced motorcycles back when I was so young that I was still being pushed around in a stroller. Like the family photos back home are, us with our earmuffs on at the drag strip. Racing's been in the blood ever since, so it's hard to imagine a life that isn't involved in racing.
On Friday, practice 1 at Road America ended up with Bobby Fong dropping the fastest lap time and Loris Bass dropping his Ducati. Josh Herrin had some issues and was only able to put in 2 laps.
This morning, there was some plug that somehow came undone and it was deep in the bike, so we couldn't find it, so we didn't get any laps. I was telling the team, mess around, I was like, you guys got 4 strikes now. Even though it's just been a bunch of bad luck on Fridays, but I was messing with them. I was like, you guys got 4 strikes now. Every strike at the end of the year is dinner, and right now you got 4, I got 0, so I'm sure I'll get a couple.
Later in the afternoon, as the temperature rose, Cameron Peterson put some pressure on Jake Gagne with the second fastest time in Q1, as the two were the only riders under 2 minutes and 12 seconds.
Jake's just got something special at the moment. Whether it's the bike or him, I think it's a combination of both. I think he's in a really good place at the moment, and it shows in his riding. And so yeah, it's going to take a lot to beat him, that's for sure. But I feel like, you know, if I can just get away from that battle and have a clean first 2 laps, I think we'll be able to make a race out of it.
Bobby Fong made a simple mistake and ended up in the grass without issue. Josh Herrin continued to struggle as he came in 7th, just over 2.5 seconds behind his teammate Gagne. Near the end of the session, Hector Barbera ended up in the gravel and broke the index finger on his left hand. He's gutting it out, even though it makes it tougher using the thumb brake with his clutch hand.
Broken that one. It's positive is in left hand, but negative I use rear brake. It's not possible too much push for rear brake. Now when I crash is no, because the clutch, when I crash, the clutch is touch my finger, and then when I go to the hospital is not possible for ride. I want to ride. And the doctor is, okay, it's broken, but not very big broken. I think for today I am very ready for fighting.
Another rider fighting through the pain is Fly Racing ADR Motorsports owner, David Anthony. He broke a thumb earlier in the season and has had the toughest start of the season by far. He has yet to finish a race.
I got to the first round and made it through one day. That was it. Second round, I struggled, crashed out again. So here out the 3rd round, I'm fit enough to ride, but the pressure from the start of the season, after 5 months of hard work, that's gone. I feel like now there's no pressure. You know, I can only go up from here, and it doesn't matter. Game plan for tomorrow here at Road America is just, honestly, it doesn't sound like much, but stay on the bike and finish the race. I haven't seen a checkered flag this year yet, so try and see a checkered flag. That's my only goal. I don't really care where I finish, just let's finish the race and start there. Come on, we're waiting over here. What do you got? Come on, next question. Let's go.
Coming up, race 1 from legendary Road America. The biggest fan turnout of the season had Road America buzzing with anticipation for Superbike Race 1 on Saturday.
There were so many people this weekend, I think around 60,000 people, that's just crazy. Yeah, even the World Championship don't get that much people in a lot of runs, so.
It's definitely got a special place in my heart, got engaged here. Even when I drove into the track on Thursday, I got this little feeling in my stomach, I was like, I'm back.
No one was more ready to get the day started than Jake Gagne, who set the track record on his first lap in qualifying 2. A little later, as both Attack Performance riders were changing tires, Richard Stanboli suggested that Jake give Josh Herrin a tow to help him get a better grid position.
We had some technical issues with the motorcycle for Josh in FP1, so he didn't get many laps. And so, yeah, Jake was quite the gentleman. He said, yeah, no problem. Let's pull him around. He needed some people between him and the guys behind him in points. So, yeah, so he pulled him around, and he did a track record, and Josh was right there, 11-0. It's pretty good.
The plan worked, and Josh ended up qualifying P2 right beside Jake for race 1. Bobby Fong filled out the first row in P3, with Cameron Peterson in P4 and Loris Baz in P5. Points leader Matthew Skoltz was clearly unhappy with his qualifying position of 6th, the farthest back on the grid he has started all season.
Definitely not too happy, but yeah, we just got to keep on working, put our head down and try to figure something out. And we know that we're kind of losing on the straights as far as horsepower goes, but you can always make up some more time through the corners.
Three-minute board and horn, please. 3 minutes. Generators and tire warmers to the cold side, please. Non-essential personnel, please start clearing the grid at this time. Copy, clear in the rear. This starter, it's all yours, sir.
12 laps scheduled in this race for HONOS Superbike race number 1. Can Jake Gagne make it 4 in a row? Can Matthew Skoltz stop the bleeding in this championship? We're away in racing. The clutch is out, and Jake Gagne with a great start. And it's Cameron Peterson on the 45, was on the outside with the wheel in the air. There's the number 2 of Josh Herrin.
Jake Gagne got a great launch off the line, and by the end of the first lap had already begun to pull away from the rest of the field.
If we're leading the race, whether it's 1 second or 5 seconds or whatever, it's still interesting, man. I still enjoy it, and that's plenty interesting for me.
On lap 3, Baz overtakes Herrin and Peterson going into the first turn, but Herrin responds and takes it right back.
As now it looks like a Ducati has drafted a Yamaha and a Suzuki, so Baz is going to take over 3rd spot just like that. So Loris Baz starting to feel it, but Herrin now goes back into 3rd, Cam Peterson into 2nd. Going back and forth for this final spot on the podium.
First 4 or 5 laps were hard for me because I had to learn the bike, how to ride the bike. That was so different. And then I found my pace. I was not able to catch Cam and Bobby straight away, but I was catching like 10s or 2 each lap, and I was just hoping that they'd start a battle together.
And so now Herrin and Skoltz going after it. That is the battle for 5th position. And this is where things could get a little bit hectic for Matthew Skoltz, as all he's trying to do at this point is just maintain, get the best result he possibly can with such a great package underneath him that's just missing something slightly in terms of acceleration. But he's just trying to score as many points as he can and minimize the damage to Jake Gagne, who has absolutely set this championship on fire.
Championship points leader Matthew Skoltz started from P6, but throughout the race wasn't able to chase down anyone in front of him.
Riding on the absolute limit and still ended up 6th place, and that's pretty far off where we have been so far, and I don't feel like I should be that far back.
Teammates Cameron Peterson and Bobby Fong managed to get ahead of Baz and battled for 2nd the remainder of the race. With 2 laps to go, Loris Baz was making quick work on closing the gap to them.
This is it for Loris Baz. He has been grinding away, chipping away at these laps, and slowly reeling these 2 in. It's a battle for 2nd place as Jake Gagne is well out front. Can Cam Peterson hold on to his first podium of the season?
Cam is really good through the carousel. He actually opened up a little bit of a gap there. These guys are both going to have to break deep. You can see Cam going in extremely tight. I bet if he knew he had a bigger gap than that as he exited the carousel, he probably wouldn't have gone in quite as tight. That is going to allow these other 2 to close back up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bobby take a little shot at that Ducati when they get down here to Canada Corner. Baz probably isn't quite close enough to do so. Let's see what happens here.
I think I could have overtaken him in turn 12, but I just tried to wait the last turn, so I made the last turn really clean, take the draft. I was scared that Bobby try something too, but I mean, it's what I think I did what I had to do in the 2 last lap.
Cam goes in there very tight, as does Baz, so they both kind of defend their positions against the 50 of Bobby Fong. Now it's all going to be about getting the run out of turn 13. Our leader's probably out of 14 already, getting ready to head up the hill. These guys are going into the last corner now.
So here he comes up the front straightaway. Jake Gagne will cross start finish line, take the checkered flag, and win his 4th race in a row. And how about that battle for 3rd spot? 2nd and 3rd. To the line we go. Baz takes it.
I managed to overtake Bobby going into the last lap on the straight finish line. It's the first time in my life I overtake someone down the straight, so I was so happy. Like I can feel the power from Ducati finally, so I'm so happy.
I stayed left and I made one move to the right, hoping that, that was maybe going to break the draft. And we came up over the hill and I just saw out of my peripheral vision, I saw that red Ducati coming next to me. I was like, oh man, he's got me, It would have been nice, have some bragging rights, but it was a good race in general, Last race, it is what it is. There was some hard racing, there was some moves that were pretty hard, but it's behind us now. Me and Lars we've had a conversation, and we've both got respect for each other. My goal this year has been to progress, and I feel like I'm doing that pretty good. So going into race 2, again, I just want to progress, and if that's one position, then I'll be super, super happy with that.
Obviously, losing the championship lead sucks. I know it's very early on, and you shouldn't really be talking about the championship, but it definitely stings.
I think Matthew has a bit of a chip on his shoulder right now. I think to a certain extent, maybe he feels that I let him down a little bit. It was a mistake I certainly didn't mean to do. Came up here with what was to be the same spec engine that we've been racing on, just a fresh engine. Once Matt rode it for 2 sessions, he said it really lacks some mid-range punch. Went back, looked at some notes, and so we just need to catch up from there. And a lot of what's happening here is based off of momentum and keeping a rider in a nice place, in a comfort zone. And I helped get him out of that comfort zone. So I won't make the mistake again, and I won't let the guys down. So fingers crossed, and like the man says, you can never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep.
Coming up, intense competition doesn't mean turning your back on another team when they reach out for help. After Hector Barbera laid down the bike in qualifying 1, his index finger wasn't all that was broken. Scheibe Racing found themselves in need of an axle and reached out to a friend in the paddock for some help.
On Friday, we had a little incident where we tipped over. It was our first time this year. And we had to do some repairs. It was a medium repair job into the evening. And we came across some parts we didn't have. We didn't carry spares of, didn't expect to need spares of. So I recognized that some other teams use the same parts we do. I looked up the part numbers to confirm it, and I went and asked the Westby team if I could borrow one of their parts that I needed for the rear of the bike.
Steve had an axle that just wasn't totally true, and I certainly was not going to say, well, why don't you just put it in a press and straighten it out? So, we carry an abundance of spares, and, we let those guys have it. I mean, this morning, he got with me again, Steve did, and he said, do you have a 40-tooth sprocket? I'm like, of course I have a 40-tooth sprocket. I got plenty of sprockets. So we both share the same sponsor, manufacturer, and sponsor, and we gave him the gearing he needed for the race too, and I was happy to do it.
We all need to be successful, for all of us to be successful as a business. So when we run short of items, people need a hand, we all help each other out to get through the problems.
We want to beat everybody, but I'll say it right now. We got help from M4 Suzuki this weekend. I needed some Oedeker clamps to hold radiator hoses on, and they gave them to me with a smile. And sometimes they'll come to me for something, or Max Flinders comes over, or his guys, or the people from N2. There's a lot of camaraderie in this paddock, and we all know we need each other to be here.
And I'd like to give a thanks to Chuck at Westby. Chuck, without your help, we would have had some concerns about continuing for the weekend.
Honestly, Steve, thanks very much. I appreciate you coming over and knowing that we would do something for you. You know I always will. I don't know if we would have given it to him if we were in a harsh points battle, especially where he's on a different bike, but we probably would have still.
The camaraderie in the paddock goes beyond spare parts. The all-women's build, train, race program with Royal Enfield relies on teamwork and community. Melissa Paris acts as a mentor to all 7 participants who build their own motorcycles, train to race, and line up to compete at 3 MotoAmerica stops this season.
So these girls have been working so hard for the past couple of months to build a bike. None of them have any experience either building a bike or road racing, so this is all completely new. I had the opportunity to build a bike alongside them, so we kind of got to go through it all together and experience it all.
Training with, one of the best in the world, Melissa Paris, has just been insane. We had a couple track days, and that has been phenomenal. I've learned so dang much.
They're all so different. Like, they all come from such different backgrounds, and the crazy thing has been the girls who I was like, oh, she's gonna kill it on the build, and she might struggle on the build, and I've been totally wrong on all of them. You really cannot judge a book by the cover. I just crack up. There's one girl, Michaela, who's a hairdresser, and I was like, oh, I don't know how mechanically inclined she is, and she's just massacred it. She's killed it. So every time she'll send me a picture, and I'm like, dude, why are you cutting hair for a living? Come here, come do this with me.
The only thing I knew about building a bike was changing my oils and tire pressure. Legit, only thing I knew. And so coming into this, it was very, very overwhelming, but in all the good ways. I screwed in every single screw in this bike, and it was my first time screwing in all these screws, so I'm I trust it, but I don't trust it. And now I feel like I definitely can trust it, and I'm excited to see all the different tracks and what they all have in store.
I think the thing about it that inspires me the most is I think back to when I first started riding, and I was so reliant on the men around me, please help. And I'm embarrassed to think that I was this damsel in distress, The more we can make girls feel confident to do those things on their own, the more girls are gonna go out and ride.
I know not everything, but I know a lot now. I trust myself.
Sunday morning kicked off with a second Mission Foods King of the Baggers race this season. Brothers Kyle and Travis Wyman didn't disappoint as they finished first and second in Harley-Davidson's home race.
Kyle Wyman takes victory here at Road America. Wyman will stand on the top step of the podium as he awaits the arrival of his brother, Travis Wyman, to take the checkered flag. So 1-2 for the Wyman brothers.
When we come back, Jake Gagne goes for 5 wins in a row in race 2 from Road America. Last year, MotoAmerica made 2 stops at Road America, with no fans allowed for round 1. Matthew Skoltz and Bobby Fong got tangled up and crashed out of race 2.
Bobby at this point is in no man's land. He's trying to get the bike stopped, and you can see he just kind of clatters into the back of Matthew Skoltz as they were going down into turn 5.
Both were fine and raced the next round a few weeks later. It was the second round at Road America that Bobby will always remember, as he won his first ever HONOS Superbike race over Jake Gagne in race 2.
On the gas goes Bobby Fong, head down and up the hill. How do you like race 2 in the HONOS Superbike class? It's going to be M4 X-Star Suzuki's Bobby Fong.
I'm here to hopefully better that this year, and I'm always, if you know me as a person, I'm always looking for a bigger, better, It's I want more and more and more and more, and that's what makes me me. I think that's why I'm here still fighting this late in my career for a Superbike championship, is because they do know I will, give it 110% on the bike.
Every rider has their things that make them tick, so some riders are different, but our job is to provide an environment that keeps the rider calm and allows them to thrive. Bobby's in the right mindset, he's calm, he's focused on him, he's going to do well.
When you arrive to a track you've never been with your bike, you need to guess the setup a little bit. So you put a setup on the bike, and hopefully it works. So we change a lot of things on the bike.
We are new on the track, we don't know nothing about, we have no data in the USA, so every lap we have to improve, and it's not easy. It's easy to do mistake, for sure. He trusts me, and for sure it's not easy for a rider to trust in the crew. So I'm really happy because he trusts me, he trusts in all the crew, and this is important. For sure, if you do mistake, it's more difficult to have confidence with the rider.
We got to finish the race. Definitely don't want to be finishing. I think I was 50-something seconds back, so that's probably my worst legitimate finish in a long time. I can't not finish. That's all I was thinking. I have to finish. So I guess now I've done that, I can stop thinking that. It's been a tough start to the season, and you know I'm a head case a lot of the time. So it's heading in the right direction. So hopefully we can take that.
Road America has been good for me. You know, I added up. I think I have out of the last 6 races I've done here, I got 5 podiums. So I'm happy here. I like riding here. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Only a 3rd round of the year. You know, you don't want people thinking you don't got it still.
Jake's just on another level at the moment, you know. So he's the guy that we got to chase. But yeah, there's something special that Jake's doing at the moment that we got to figure out. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough year for us.
Three minutes. Generators and tire warmers to the cold side, please. Bikes off the stands, engines running. Clear the grid, clear the grid. Lights out, we have a start.
And Jake Gagne with another great launch.
Bobby Fong as well from row 2. Both the Suzuki's get away well. They're going to funnel in behind that 32 of Gagne. Now the important part, Greg, is they got to go with him early. Cam Peterson was so good at that last year in our stock 1000 class. Bobby Fong gets shuffled back. Heron goes up to 3rd. Cam Peterson doing everything he can right now to go with that 32. Very impressive.
What a start from the 45. M4X Star Suzuki's Cam Peterson. What a difference from yesterday. And Peterson, is he going to make a bid for the lead? Are you kidding me? Side by side they go, and Cameron Peterson is leading HONOS Superbike for a moment as they go down into turn 5. Gagne retakes the lead.
I felt like I was a little bit more assertive on that first lap. I didn't really let anybody come underneath me or overtake me, and that was the big difference. So yeah, for the rest of the season, I'm just going to try to keep that aggression going and that assertiveness to, you know, let guys know that I'm not here to be pushed around. I'm here to win races.
Bobby Fong made a mistake on the first lap, dropping him back to 8th and creating an urgency to try and make his way back through the field.
I got a really good start. I was like, oh, I could be up there the first few laps, and then Heron came in, ran me wide. You know, like 5-6 people passed me. Almost hit Wyman going chicane, ran off the track, had to go through the tire barrier, and then I was a few seconds back.
He's going to get himself back in line here. No real positions gained. All those guys are going to go by him, it looks like.
And then we're just playing with Heron for half the race, doing 14s, where everybody's doing 13s, 12s, and 13s.
We've seen Baz continue to get stronger and stronger as the race wears on. So Baz trying to do what he said he wanted to do on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, but back to Josh Heron and Bobby Fong.
He wanted to play cat and mouse the whole race, and of course my ego gets in the way, and I want to do the same thing sometimes, you know. So we hurt each other. We hurt each other. As both of our faults, and it cost me the podium for sure, because I had pace to at least stay close to Gagne in the beginning.
Gagne now out to a 1.5 second Greg. 1.5 second lead. He runs a 2:10.9.
As Baz, and there's some smoke coming out of the Ducati. So after a pass, Baz looks like he's having problems.
Got bike 7.6 smoking going through turn 1.
So Loris Baz, that could signal the end of his race. Hand in the air.
Could not believe it. I was just, when I blow up, usually I would have broke my hand into the wall or something, but this time I just laughed. I was just like, okay, what can I do? The guys in the team, everybody is working so hard, but there is some parameters that you can't really do anything with,
How about Matthew Skoltz? Talking to him yesterday, a little bit down in the dumps a little bit. Was the number 11 rider, our points leader coming in. Has some issues this weekend, but right now he's finding himself in third. This would be a good chunk of points for the 11.
I kind of got fortunate with Loris's bike, and maybe like Heron and Fong and those guys battling and kind of getting held up. It kind of helped me out, but those things happen.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming for Bobby. I really didn't. He's so good, and it's really hard. And there he goes. It's a hard pass. Yeah, it's a hard pass. I could tell that these two guys were maybe there was a little bit of something that went on at the beginning of this race, but it's allowed Hector Barbera to jump right back into it with them.
As soon as I passed him, I tapped on my back fender. I'm like, hey man, follow me. Like, I could move forward from here. I could go faster than 14s.
While Skoltz was tracking down Peterson in second, Bobby Fong finally gets past Josh Heron and puts in a fantastic final lap.
Trying to get that M4X Star Suzuki on the box and make it 2 and 3 for Suzuki. Oh, this is going to be so close. Fong has got his machine working so well. Coming up over the hill for the 5th win in a row, Jake Gagne takes the checkered flag and extends his points lead. Cameron Peterson, another podium appearance for him, and a great job. And here it goes, the final spot on the podium. It's a drag race to start finish line. Matthew Skoltz looks like he's under. No, he holds on by 4 thousandths of a second. Bobby Fong missed out doing his fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race. A 2:12.3 for Fong.
The final lap said 2 or 3 seconds. I kind of thought that I could just chill out because there was something was happening with the bike, and I was thinking about wheeling over the finish line because finishing third with how the weekend's gone was really awesome for us. And I came out of the final corner and saw Bobby was right there and just about flipping pants. So, I was just worried, but fortunately for me, he kind of wheelied over the hill and lost some drive, and I think I beat him by 4 thousandths of a second, which is insane. And yeah, just really fortunate that I kind of checked, because that you would look like a real wheeling and somebody passes you.
On the last lap doing a 12.3, I felt good. Who knows what I could have done on a new tire, but like I said, it was just this close, but hey, it doesn't matter. We got 4th, and it doesn't matter how close I am. At the end of the day, I got 4th and 4th place points.
By 3-3 down turn 10A, rider is up, 3-3.
Kyle Wyman crashed out of the race and sustained an injury to his left arm. After winning the Baggers race in the morning, he experienced racing's highs and lows within a few short hours.
It's Thursday after the race. I had to wait a few days to get surgery, but I now have surgery. I've had a plate and 7 screws put in my elbow here, and it's early still to tell where we are in our recovery, but I'm definitely out for the Ridge, which is Superbike only, and I'm focused squarely on trying to put myself in a position where I can ride the bagger at Laguna and try to finish the championship.
My plan was to try keep Jake in sight all race, and I was able to do that. Last lap, I backed it off the last 2 laps just to bring it home, but last lap I came out turn 1 and there he was. I could see him. So
saw Cam coming by me on the straightaway down into 5, and I said, if I could lead going into 5, then I have the old infield section. It'll be tough to make a pass, and I can kind of get in my program. And came by on the first lap, and I still saw +0 on my pit board, so I said, it's time to go.
Quite a tough weekend for us, for sure. It was, I just felt like we're missing. Sorry, I felt like we were missing a few things all weekend, but yesterday we had a good race too. You know, we ended up second and got drafted to fourth in the last few laps, but I felt like I rode well.
Yeah, I mean, finishing sixth yesterday, I was ready to go and hang up my boots, you know, but today finishing third was good, so.
When we come back, a look ahead to the next stop at the Ridge, just outside of Seattle. After round 3, Jake Gagne emerges as the new points leader, sitting 18 points ahead of Matthew Skoltz. Josh Herrin maintains his hold on third, while Cameron Peterson in fourth is just 10 points ahead of teammate Bobby Fong in fifth.
We lost a few championship points, but you know, I think that the next couple tracks that we'll be going to really suit the Yamaha bike and kind of suit how I ride. So just really looking forward to getting back out there and try to fight and challenge Jake up front.
I always like to say, you know, we're getting our gremlins out of the way now, but it just keeps happening. So it's hard to stay motivated, but I think it'll get better.
Gagne, Skoltz, and Fong all saw the podium last year at the Ridge. They'll each have the opportunity to utilize last year's data to improve their results on the newly paved surface for round 4.
A place like the Ridge, you got to be on it or you'll be paying for it for a couple turns, you know, and some interesting kind of turns there. You know, I think even maybe this year there might be some different asphalt and stuff that we'll get to check out. So, but it's good to go to again too. You know, we went there last year, but it's still a relatively new track.
I expect the Ridge to be a little bit, not easier. I think it's a track that will be a little bit like Road America for sure. It's a track that suits the V4 really well. But I think they're having to test on Thursday, we'll have more track time, and I think more track time means easier for us.
Going to Seattle, it's another track that I love. I went pretty good there last year. Even on the stock bike, I had some good pace compared to the Superbikes.
They had really big curbs at the Ridge. Hopefully they knock those down because those things are quite dangerous. I didn't have a problem with it, but man, those things are definitely they're pretty tall, and I think they cut them down, but it definitely gets bundled up. But that's what makes for a more important qualifying.
Jake's starting to ride the bike more like Cameron did, and a little smoother, smoothing out, even though it doesn't look that way all the time. He's kind of halfway between where he was and where Cameron was last year. And Josh has a little bit of a completely different riding style. It's more MotoGP, Moto2 style, hang off more. So we're working with Josh, again, try to maybe bridge the gap between what the bike likes and what he likes to do.
We're still learning. We're still chipping away at it. We're good in all other classes. We need to be able to win week in and week out in Superbike. That's the goal. That's what we want to do. You know, second place is second place. That's cool. Good job you got on the podium, but I like them team trophies, and you know, that's what pays the bills.
Let's face it, a day at the track is way better than any great day at a 9-to-5 job. So who knows? No offense to the people that work in bowling alleys, but I could be spraying deodorant and bowling shoes, and I'm not. So I'm grateful. And the last thing I'll remember today about leaving here is collecting points and climbing back on the podium. Well, Matthew climbed back on the podium, but I'll ride his back on that. The rest of the team will too.
Jake Gagne has taken control of the championship with a 5-race win streak, only finishing off the podium once so far this season. The question is, will anybody be able to stop him on the way to his first ever Superbike title?
I think the second half of the season is going to be a little bit different. You know, hopefully we close that gap and just give Jake a bit of a challenge.